The Gallagher Shots podcast is sponsored by Tyre Spot, the Northeast's leading tyre supplier with branches across the region. Tyre Spot don't just do tyres, they cover everything from servicing to wheel alignment. They can handle every aspect of your car's maintenance. For more information, visit tyrespot.co.uk. Enjoy the episode.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Gallagher Shots YouTube channel and podcast. And we are back. It is the morning after the opening game for Newcastle United in the 2025-2026 campaign. I am your host, Kris. I'm joined by Daryl and Ben, and we are just going to jump straight into it because I think with the whole circus which has been going on around the club, which we will get onto a little bit later, I think a lot of fans were feeling a little bit deflated going into this season, but 24 hours before kickoff, we were doing our likes of match previews, the pre-game show, which we're doing. You can tell the excitement is building and everybody's looking forward to the start of the season. And when we look back over the predictions, I don't think many people gave Newcastle United credit with, obviously, the issue of not having a striker. But we managed and we'll put on quite a decent display considering the circumstances. I'm going to start with you, Ben. You were there. You were down at Villa Park. Like I said, it's the first one of the season. How was your day to start with?
Had a cracking day. A bit worse for wear, to be honest, now. The day after and the morning after. But no, had a cracking day. My mate drove down, Kris. We got down there early-ish, about 10:15 by the time we got down there. Trying to find somewhere in Villa Park where we'll have a drink. It's an absolute nightmare. So that was a bit of a nightmare. So we're going to just go in the ground, have a few beers in the ground. But they didn't open it up until about an hour and 15 minutes before, which on reflection, how I feel this morning, that's probably not a bad thing. So went in, had a few pints beforehand. Atmosphere was building. It was just good. Good to see some familiar faces, people that you don't see over the summer and stuff as well. And I had a cracking day down there. Was looking forward by the time the match started. It was pretty excited, to be fair.
Glorious day as well, just like it is today, Dazmo as well. Sun shining on the opening weekend of the season is what you always want. It's normally what you expect these days. It's always a bit nicer when it is at St. James's Park, mind. But unfortunately, it wasn't. It was at Villa Park. But like I said, we're looking at back at predictions. I don't think many people gave us credit, including our own fans as well. I think I went with an optimistic 1-1 result. That's what I said. But a lot of the lads were saying, that they were expecting a defeat because obviously the situation which we had of who was going to be playing up top. Obviously, the team news was released, Dazmo, 75 minutes before kickoff. And it was as you expected, really. Obviously, if we just look at the key points that Howe was missing from that starting 11, that's probably just solely down to lack of minutes coming back from return from an injury. And how well, let's not forget how well Trips and Livermore ended the season as well towards the end of last year. So there's no main surprises, really. Gordon up top, which once again we expected.
Yeah. I mean, I was asked as early as Wednesday what I thought the starting lineup would be, and it was exactly the same lineup that came out yesterday lunchtime. We have to remember that team picks itself from the end of last season, with the exception of one obvious glaring error, but omission, I should say. And I think, we have to remember as well just how well that team did, and we should never have really doubted that team performance because we know what they're capable of based on the end of last season. And there's nothing to suggest over the summer that they should be coming into the season any less than what they were when they ended the previous season. I was really impressed with how we played, actually. I thought we did really well in the game. Elanga had that really early chance, and, if he buries it, it's a completely different story for the rest of the game. I think all three of us can agree that what was missing yesterday was one thing, and it was a recognised striker. That's the only thing that was really missing from that game yesterday, because the rest of the team was spot on.
Yeah, I agree. One of the things I'm going to do this season, which is going to be slightly different to the way that we did the match reactions last season, is normally we'd go through certain moments in the game, and as obviously numerical and as the game progresses, I'm going to do things a little bit different on this one. I'm going to basically pick certain issues or pros that happened in the game. And what I want to start with, and I'll come to you, Ben, is a main talking point as well, is Elanga. Elanga making his Premier League debut for Newcastle United. And he's had mixed reviews, I want to say. I think the reviews which I'm seeing, and especially in our group and in our WhatsApp group, that's normally that's all right, to be fair. A lot of us, they see us and he done exactly what we expected to see from Elanga. Sometimes his touch on the ball wasn't great when he had time to think about it, but when it's just head down, run past the defender, he's unbelievable at doing that. He's so quick and dynamic and do that. But I think it might have been Decker that highlighted. He's not great on the ball when he had so much time. Once again, comparisons to the likes of Maxi coming into it, which we're always going to get with Decker. Any chance he gets to mention Maxi, going to come into it. A lot of the things which I saw in regards to the criticism, the negativity, and we will get to about the chance that he did miss, is coming from people saying that they're seeing too much of it. I'm not really seeing a huge amount of people being negative. I'm seeing more people saying, "Oh, I'm sick of seeing all these people being negative about Elanga." I'm not really seeing a huge amount of negativity. But with you being down there in the ground, what were your thoughts on his performance?
I've seen a lot of this stuff online, and there has been a little bit of negativity, which, being at the game, I found strange. I thought it was excellent. I was 2 rows off the front yesterday. So, especially in the second half, he was right beside us. He was in front of us. And I thought we really missed him when he came off. He was just direct. I know Decker talks a lot about having wingers that he just loves just running at people. I'm the same. And every time he got the ball, he went at the fullback. Their fullback would have been over the moon when he came off. I know he missed a chance, but he got himself into the chance. Obviously, Gordon got the red card through Elanga's ball. Like, he played through to him as well. So, like, the two big pivotal moments all came off the back of Elanga. Look, I think I said this in our group as well. You could be Beckham, and if you're pinging balls and there's nobody in the middle of the pot, like in the middle to put them to, then there's nothing more you can do about that, really. And we know that we don't have a striker, but that makes it harder for wingers as well. I was listening to off topic a little bit, but Kudos set that ball up for Richarlison yesterday, and I was listening to what he was saying after the game. Oh, it wasn't a great ball, but he made it look like a great ball with a finish. Elanga could have put any amount of balls in yesterday, and look, we weren't going to get there. I think we created one chance off the Gordon header, and that was about it. I thought it was really good. He was really direct. I thought him and Trippier looked really good together. Trips is brilliant on the ball. His passing's excellent, and every time he got that ball, he just went out to Elanga, and he had a go. I think he'll terrorise defenders this year. And they're a good team, Villa, and they were doubling up on him. He was playing against a good fullback as well. Like, he'll torture some players this year. He really, really will. Teams come and play a high line. He'll get so much space, especially if you've got him and Gordon on either side as well. He'll get probably a little bit more space because Barnes didn't really get in the game yesterday. If you've got two people, you can't double up on both of them. But no, I thought it was excellent. Really positive for me. I'm surprised people are giving him that little bit of grief that they are. I thought, as I say, he did what you expected him to do. And I say he got the red card for the ball through, and he probably should have scored, granted, but he got himself in that chance. And for me, that's what you want, right? You want people to be getting themselves into chances. If they're not doing that, then that's when you've got a problem.
Yeah,
exactly. I think Dazmo, if let's say for the game had progressed and we had have lost that one, I think a lot of people be big question mark over Elanga missing that opportunity earlier on in the game, because it was a fantastic chance. It really was, one-on-one with the keeper, and you expect him to bury that, and it's not a great shot. It's really not, and I think that's probably one of the things that a lot of fans are looking at. And if you look at the moments just before he was taken off the field as well, and he was subbed off. Those two crosses which just went miles by everybody, and I think that's probably the moments where you think Eddie Howe's made the decision, right, it's time for him to come off. And Jacob Murphy came onto the field, and Jacob Murphy, you know what you're going to get from Murphy, don't you? He calms it down a little bit. He's not anything close to the likes of Elanga where he's full of pace. He's more conservative with his approach in regards to getting the ball in the box. But I want to talk about the front three as a whole, Dazmo, because they are electric. The three of them will look dangerous on the counter-attack every single time, which, like Ben mentioned, leads up to the sending off as well for Villa.
Yeah, I mean, The one thing you can say about that front three that we played yesterday is the amount of pace that they possess and how quick they are when it comes to getting at defenders and really, I have to pay credit as well to the middle three as well, because they have to work hard on getting the transitions and making sure that once they win the ball, that the first thought is to look for one of those front three and which one can they play in to progress up the pitch. Because, when you've got especially the likes of Elanga and Gordon peeling out wide, I mean, you saw it early on in the game in the first half, and once they're through, nobody's catching them. And there's a lot of teams will, like you mentioned, struggle against that this season. And I'm really looking forward to next week about that, actually, even though it is the champions. I think we saw evidence in that game on Friday night that they have weaknesses. And based on what we did yesterday against Aston Villa, I think they're weaknesses we can exploit. And, you mentioned the ball through from Elanga for Gordon when Konsa got sent off. I mean, you could see that happening again next week, and it could be the Liverpool number 4 who's pulling down the man through, and he could be away because they just couldn't deal with that pace. And like you say, they had to double up on Elanga at the end, and that's a sign of just how big of a threat he was. And Barnes is probably the one, if we got a recognised striker, would be the one who would make way in that starting front three, but he does have a finish in him, and as much as we didn't see it yesterday, he still has that in his locker. And it's one of those things you need. If something needs to be pulled out of the mire, it could be one moment of magic from him. Again, he has that pace as well. That front three is just riddled with pace in such a positive way, and Eddie's really worked on it in the preseason. We've seen it where we've been able to capitalise on that and use that as our strength in going forward, is being able to actually really press high, and then once we win the ball, we're out of sight already because of the pace that we've got.
I think it works, Ben, when you're playing somebody like Villa, because Villa are renowned to play with a very high line, and you can hit them on the counter-attack. When it's a team coming to St. James's Park with a low block, let's say, you're probably going to... Pace isn't really going to matter unless it is solely on those counter-attacking positions and transitions that you're going through. What I do want to mention, and just because Dazmo's brought it up, though, Ben, is the midfield three. I thought every single player had a good game in their own spell of the game. I think collectively it wasn't used to what we have seen, but that'll come as the games go past. But I think each one of them had great moments in the game, but not as a three, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, I get what you mean. I thought we were excellent yesterday. At first, I know it's like first half, we dominated the game. Playing against a really good Villa side that just finished behind us last year. I thought Tonali was different class yesterday. He's got so much energy. He's got so much class on the ball. Like he is truly a world class player. Like brilliant.
He is our best player. Like hands down, he's our best player.
Was anybody? Yeah. Oh, yeah, by a mile. He's just different class, and he makes the others tick as well. He covers for Bruno on the sides of the game that Bruno's probably not brilliant at. It gives that calmness that Joelinton doesn't necessarily have on the ball as well. Like I was watching the lads warm up before the game, and Joelinton was so fired up. Like he was yesterday. They were really wanted to. They did. They went on and proved the point. I thought the midfield would dominate the game. I just think you touched on it a bit there. It's just that creativity at times, and that might be our issue really. That didn't create a lot of chances yesterday for all the ball that we did have. You do wonder about that. But then look, we've just went and signed Ramsey, right? And that's why we signed Ramsey. He's, I think, only second to De Bruyne last year, but getting between the lines. So we needed that. And that's what we went and addressed and got somebody to do that. And in a couple of weeks' time, that bench will look very different as well. You'll have a lot more options to come off the bench. I mean, we'll probably touch on it later on. I think that was probably my only gripe yesterday, was probably the substitutions a little bit. I would have changed things a lot earlier, but we'll have options. You'll have one of the fullbacks will not be starting. You'll have one of them to come on fresh, and you'll have potentially a fully fit Lewis Hall. We're going to have Ramsey. We just don't have that big creativity at the moment, but it's coming. Like, all really positive signs. Like, I'm so positive after yesterday. I thought it was excellent. Sets up, like you were saying, brilliantly for next week. Really, really does.
I think you're probably right. I think the display that we saw, it was very encouraging. It really was for a lot of fans, including myself, because I wasn't expecting that sort of performance yesterday. What I did want to mention, Daryl, is especially just sticking with that midfield three. It was highlighted quite a lot in commentary, and I spotted it early doors. is how straight that line of 5 was when we were dropping back in defensive performance. The 5 lads in midfield. So obviously you've got the Elanga, the midfield trio in Joe Linton, Tonali, and Bruno, and Barnes. It was perfect. Honestly, you could have put a spirit level on that, and the 5 of them are just so in line with each other. It was impressive to see.
mean, yeah, and it gives that protection as well to the defense. I mean, if you want to be hard to break down, you've got to have that structure and you've got to have that shape. And yesterday just showed how well they've been drilled on the training ground to maintain that shape. I mean, Eddie's probably spent the best part of the week up on the scaffold tower at the training ground watching that shape and then just having some
trying to find
like a megaphone or something.
Binoculars.
Yeah, binoculars in one hand and a megaphone in the other, telling them to hold them lines and make sure who needs to drop back into position drops back into position, because in terms of their organisation in keeping the tactical shape, it was fantastic. And that works together as well with the back four, because the back four have to be just as organised as the midfield. And it's good that we can afford to do it that way, and also that's also the benefit of having the pace that we have out wide, because you can have Elanga and Barnes dropping in, knowing that when we transition the ball and start to attack, they're already up there with Gordon because they're that quick.
I think, I'm not sure if you would have seen this, Ben, with you being at the game, but there was a bit of a joke after the game as Ali McCoist gave Fabian Shaw man of the match, and he got pelters. Because they were saying that all the defenders had played well, but especially Camara played really well as when he had to drop back into that centre back role as well. He played really well, but Ali McCoist went and gave it to Fabian Shaw. And it was Crouchy and Joe Cole afterwards, basically saying, like, what's he done? Why is he giving it to Fabian Shaw? And because just after he gave it to Fabian just went mental. He just started losing everything, started kicking off with people, fouling people left, right, and centre as soon as he got given the man of the match award. And they interviewed Dan Burn afterwards, and they tell Dan Burn as well. And he's what? Is he Ali's normally my biggest fan? And which leads us to Dan Burn. I thought he was great yesterday, fantastic.
Immense. Absolutely immense. He absolutely pocketed Watkins. I was saying this at the match yesterday. If he wasn't Dan Burn, it sounds stupid. If we signed him from somewhere else and he was Italian or something, would rave about him. And I know we do rave about him in a way, but it's always like a but, or it's like, but Botman's going to come back in, or he's doing quite well until he's different class. He is arguably the best English centre-half in the league. He could definitely be starting in the World Cup come the summer. He's brilliant, and he's not just brilliant once in a while. He's different class, week in, week out. He just doesn't have less than a 7 out of 10 game, and sometimes he's often like an 8 or a 9. He commands like the rest of the team. Brilliant in the air. He's good on the ball as well. He is. He's decent on the ball. He doesn't panic when he gets it. It's not like Mike Williamson used to get it. You're just waiting for a punt forward. He's actually decent on the ball. I thought it was class yesterday. Shaw's a weird one, man. I wouldn't have given that to him, but I
got PTSD with you reminding us about Williamson pumping that ball as soon as he got it, mate.
Oh, you remember? It's just
as soon as he touched it, he just took it up the field.
You're like, oh yeah.
Oh god.
Honestly, that bit was great, and his eyes were lighting up every time one of the wingers was running towards him. He's sprinting across that field, thinking, "I can get this," and he was just clattering players left, right, and centre. And it was good to see him back. Honestly, I know, like you've said, Ben, Dan Burn does get a lot of criticism, because he's not that exciting player. Far from it. But honestly, I fucking love him. What a guy, man.
It reminds you of all the little things that you missed, doesn't it? Just seeing little things like that where he's coming across on his arse and sliding and getting the ball and all that. It's just one of the things that you miss and you just think, oh, I'm so glad.
And he mentions Dazmo that he likes playing against players like Ollie Watkins, the more physical sort of player, because he can get a bit rough with them. Whereas he said he used to hate playing the likes of Aguero because he wouldn't get near him, and so on and so on. I think we're going to have to touch on it, and it's going to be the striker position and saga and dilemma which we have right now. So, Ben, first off, I think it was 8 shots at goal Newcastle had.
Yeah.
And we did get in positions where you would expect a striker to finish the chances. If you look at, obviously, the Elanga chance, which you could arguably say Isak wasn't great with one-on-ones either. But let's throw that in the mix. And the Anthony Gordon header, which was early doors as well, where he just jumps too late on it, and the ball's nowhere near. And there's moments like that, and it stands out like a sore thumb that we need a striker in, and we need a striker in very quick. Yes, it was optimistic yesterday, and it was encouraging. The performance that we did see overall, the lads all were united throughout that one from the very first minute. But there's a gaping hole up top.
It's massive. Look, Gordon really grafted yesterday. Anthony Gordon last year, I give him a bit of grief because I didn't think his heart was in it and he wasn't putting the work in. Yesterday, you couldn't fault it. He ran the lines and he grafted his arse off, but he's not a striker. It never looked like he was going to score. Like, to be honest, Sula came on for about 5 minutes and actually ran the channels and actually made runs that you'd want your striker to make. I think Wissa will be in. I think Wissa will be in the next few days. I think that's near enough done. So that's going to be great. We've got a goal scorer there that's going to come in. Issue we have is he's not kicked the ball for like all summer since last year as well. But I think you're at the point now, come Monday, he has to start. If we sign him Monday, Tuesday, you just need to go with him. Yesterday, we got in areas where you're just looking at that header, like Gordon totally mistimed it. Then it never looked like, I never at one point actually thought he was going to score. Like any part of the game, I didn't think, he's actually going to create something, or you knew he wasn't going to just come across the box and create something out of nothing kind of thing or make that run. It's just not his game. And it's a gaping obvious hole. Like it really, really is. But hey, look, the positive is we just went to Villa away from home and dominated the game. Even before the sending off, we're miles a better team without a striker. So when we get a striker in there, we're in a really good position. Like that's a real positive for me, because I thought it would come away from the game and you'd be like, we didn't have a striker, but we just got beat, or at least there's a few positives you can take from it. But actually, no, it dominated the game. We could have won it, probably should have won it. And that was all without a recognised number 9. So when we do get a striker in, and we're definitely going to get somebody in, whether that's Wissa comes in and Lasulk comes back and plays, then who knows? Or if he goes and we bring somebody else in, like Ramos or something, we're in a really positive position. We're in win-win. Like, we're in a good shape now, like really, really good shape.
Yeah, I agree.
It's almost as if Gordon needs the foil of a recognised centre forward to get his best end product in terms of goals, because he we see it all the time. And he likes to come in from that left hand side and he likes to put them in that way. But when he's playing through the middle, he hasn't really got that support with him.
No.
That's
he did mention, Daryl. He did mention, and he got, because he was interviewed right in front of the Newcastle fans at full time when the Newcastle fans loudly chanted "Only one greedy bastard" towards Isak. But Gordon is asked about that role that he was playing up top, and he said that he enjoys playing that role. He said yes, he still has things to learn in that sort of position. He said that he always envisioned his role in a team being more central as he gets older, and he just said it came a bit ahead of his time right now. But obviously there's the circumstances to that. I thought honestly he looked good, like, and he was creating runs and he was being dangerous. Yes, we can't forget that he did get the player sent off as well. I think he's very, very clever at that. Yes, he's reaching the ball, but I'm not sure if he's getting away to get a shot on goal. He's very, very clever. As soon as he feels that hand on his shoulder, for fine well he's down. It's a red card all day long. I don't think there's any concerns about it. But I don't know. There was signs of encouragement throughout it from every single person on that team. And like Ben said, Daryl, as soon as we get a striker and a recognised number 9, then it's going to be a much better campaign looking forward.
Yeah, we're going to see that with a recognised striker, we're just going to see a little bit more productivity in there. He's going to be in the right places at the right time. He's going to be able to get on some of those balls that Gordon couldn't make yesterday. And we're just going to have that potency. We're going to have a bit of firepower. Somebody who builds his craft around putting the ball in the back of the net on a regular basis. And if, like Ben suggested, it is Wissa, then by all means, that'll be great, because he's up there with Isak in terms of his goals from open play last season. So it's something to look forward to. And, you mentioned there about Wissa, if he does come in, and about how he hasn't had a lot of time, game time in the pre-season. If we can get him in, say, tomorrow, he'll get a full week. He'll be there every day. He'll be doing stuff every day, and he'll be brought up to speed very quickly because we need him.
We do. I'm going to end it with this question, and I'll ask both of you it. Has your opinion for the rest of the season changed, Ben, after that performance yesterday?
I'm quite positive anyway, generally, and I think we're a good team, and I didn't lose sight of that. I think we could, and a positive yes to it is, yes, because I believe if we get 2 strikers in this season, with the players that we've signed, I don't see any reason why we can't push in around the top 3. Never mind just getting 5th, and that's probably where my mindset was fighting 5th or 6th to try and get the Champions League places this year. When I looked at it yesterday, they won the teams that we're going to compete against, and we absolutely dominated them. And that was with all the on-field crap that we've got. That was without Howe and all the other players that we've got being up to speed as well. And I thought, you know what, we're a really good team. And if we get to players who want to be at the club and people who are actually going to put the body on line for the shirt, then we can be up there. These teams aren't much better than us. Say Liverpool. Honestly, I can't wait for Monday. I really, really can't wait for Monday. I hope we absolutely batter them come Monday. I really do. And really send a statement. Get 4 points out of the first 2 games and just go on and really kick on and have a bit of confidence going into Leeds. I think we could really shock a lot of people. So yeah, sure as yesterday actually made us remember what a good football team that we really are. And I don't mean just a good football team. You listen to all these pundits talking and it's always Newcastle might finish 6th, Newcastle might finish 7th. Before Isaac down tools last season, we were in a position where we're looking to finish 2nd.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're looking to finish 2nd. And we've got a better squad now. Yes, I know there's the Champions League to come and stuff, but that could be positive. We've got better players. We've got better players through the door now than what we had last year. We've got a lot more tools. And I do think we're going to kick on. Yeah, I am. I'm positive.
We've got one big fuck-off Swedish tool as well.
That's putting it nicely.
What's your thoughts on it, Daryl?
I think if anything, I still need to see still need to see how things lie at the end of the transfer window. It has to be. I think I'm not surprised by yesterday's performance because it was always there. Like I said at the start, it was there at the end of last season. So that team didn't give me any worries at all. I just thought it would be a little bit toothless up front, and I did predict myself a 1-1 on the match preview, and we still got the draw out of it. I think, not to spoil my predictions for the social channels that will be going out after the transfer window closes, but I initially thought 6th. I'm still probably hovering around there, so 5th or 6th for me. But I always like the team to prove me wrong, and if we can get higher, then fair enough. But I'm thinking somewhere around about 5th or 6th, me, and that's unchanged from yesterday because I always thought that would be the case.
I think I'm in agreement with you, Daryl. I said around about 5th, 6th, that was all dependent on the striker situation. So at this moment in time, I'm the same. I was really encouraged by what I did see yesterday. I thought the lads did unbelievably well with like Ben said, with the circus that's going on with Alexander Isak as well, and it just showed that. And it was mentioned a couple of times in the interviews with Byrne and Byrne, Gordon, and Eddie Howe as well, to a certain extent, that the group of lads that we have such a strong bond, and something like this is probably the first test of that. Everything's been rosy behind the scenes with players, and that's probably the first thing that's thrown a spanner in the works. And they've gone through it. And as a group, could possibly be more united than they ever have been. So I'm the same. I'm saying around about 5th, 6th at this moment in time. But with the arrival of 1 or 2 strikers, then I'm on Ben's side. That's when I'm jumping straight on one thing. Why not? Why can't we go that next step? We're now building a squad with more players coming in, something which we struggled with last season. And yes, we know the reason for that. We're playing more games this season with the likes of the Champions League campaign coming up as well, which comes with its own risks and concerns as well in regards to fatigue, injuries, and so on and so on. But that's why you need that squad. And that's exactly what Eddie Howe is doing right now. He said in his interviews that he's looking at bringing another couple in, hopefully. You would expect at least one of those would be a striker. It looks like it will be Wissa. I think we're all for that, and we'll know exactly what we're going to get from Wissa. But we'll just see what the next position is going to be. Could arguably be another centre midfield player, but we'll see. But honestly, good day for the lads yesterday. Really good.
Yeah.
Like I keep
start.
on saying, it's a very good start, and long may it continue, because I was concerned before kickoff. I really was concerned, and I thought it could get a bit messy if Villa scored, but we did very, very well. I'm going to end it there, unless any of you two have anything that you would like to say.
Bring on
I'm
Liverpool.
good. Aye.
Oh, that's going to be spicy.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, well, you will have more stuff coming your way. All those that are watching or listening, you will have your match previews, match reactions throughout the season. I will be back on Monday night to host the Always Smiling Faces podcast with the rest of the lads on there too. And yeah, plenty more to come. Thanks, boys. Ta-ra.
Cheers.
Sure.